Hello folks, welcome back to some more Hobby Nightmares. Right where I am, it is actually quite late at night, but I have had one hectic week when it comes to work and getting things squared away. So I've noticed a few times when I've been into the office that I've been using, my old headset in the office. And somebody pointed out on the video on Friday that it sounded like an Xbox 360 headset, and I agree. So I decided when I got home tonight to record another Hobby Nightmares, a extra one, a bonus one, if you will, that I'm now going to release late on Friday night. So, UK people, I apologise if this hits you weird. If you're standing in a bar somewhere going, oh my god, North has just put up a video and I'm in a bar, 7 pints in. I know, I apologise. But, hey, this is what I do. If I give you some shoddy content that I'm not happy with, then I replace it with other content that I am happy with. Because I hate to feel like I'm shortchanging you guys, because, it's the right thing to do and all. So even though I'm tired, I'm going to pull my way through. I've got some Red Bull here, and I'm going to chug on through these 3 Hobby Nightmares that we got sent in. And the first one is by Andreas, and he says, "Hi North, I hope this letter finds you well, and by the time you're reading this, you've settled into your new home." I have, thank you. I thought he was going to say, you've sorted out your mic situation. Yeah, that mic situation's never coming back, by the way. You're all okay, you're all fine. Even if I do end up having to do a video in work, which I shouldn't have to, again, I will have a new headset there, ready to go. It's already there, so the exact same setup is all there, ready to go. So everything's fine, and we'll be cool. My name is Andreas. Thank you very much. You have read a couple of my stories in your videos before, for which I'm very grateful. I don't expect you to remember them, of course, and they're not directly related to this email either, to be honest. Now, forgive my English grammar, as I was not born in the and raised in the UK, despite the fact that I've been living here for over a decade now. I shall try my best to not annoy you with my spelling mistakes. Spelling mistakes don't annoy me. Flow mistakes annoy me, right? This is what I mean. When I ask you to reread what you send me, right? I was going to say reread your work there, because, I'm teaching. What I mean is, I don't care about spelling. It's the flow of it. If you're reading it and you've gotten like 7 lines with no full stop, do you know what I mean? That happens all the time. I can't read that. Anyway. I would not call this a hobby nightmare, really. In fact, if I had to call it something, it would be a hobby dream. We do those on the channel too. We do those in Hobby Nightmares too. No problem. I believe what I am seeking is your wisdom, support, and opinion, or maybe just inviting you for a little chat about the hobby and my ideas around it. Hope you've got that Yorkshire tea ready on your desk, because while I try to make this short and brief as possible, it might become a bit lengthy, one by the time I get to the last sentence. Okay. I've been in the hobby since 2018, starting with the 8th edition. That's a good place to start, man. 8th edition. If you're going to start the new stuff, in the modern Warhammer, 8th was probably the best one to get into, because it was the start point of modern 40k, do you know what I mean? Modern 40k, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. I started with Grey Knights, Man of Culture, as they're my all-time favourites, both model-wise and in the lore. When 9th edition and COVID came, I also painted up nearly 8,000 points worth of Necrons. And the year after, I started Iron Warriors, which is an army I'm still expanding week by week. Yeah, last time you did say a man of great taste because of that, so thank you. Same goes to you too, my friend. Yeah, Iron Warriors are the best legion. Fight me. Now you can clearly see that I am a massive fan of painting and reading 40k. I do enjoy playing it when I have time, and I've been lucky enough to find great opponents with fluffy armies. We also have a little gaming group with these people, which is like a second family to me, but towards the end of 2023, I started noticing that people began to care less about painting or the lore, and even the people who were the fluffiest players I knew started shifting their approach towards competitive gaming. Alright, I'm gonna step in here. Don't blame your friends, okay? Because this is just the way Games Workshop want you to play the game. That's it. This is just the way that the rules are written. The rules are written to encourage this kind of behavior, so don't blame your friends. They're just going with the flow. They're going with the crowd, all right? 40k, I said this on today's video, or the other video that's not very good, because it hasn't got very good mic quality. I said this in that 40k used to be a game where you had a referee, you had a dungeon master running your game for you. Because it wasn't about winning or losing, it was about getting together with your friends and telling a story of when these two armies meet on the battlefield, what happens. So yes, you're role-playing as the general of the army trying to win, but if you lose, it's not that big of a deal, because you're just role-playing. You're just role-playing as a general. That's what wargaming was all about back in the day, and that, my friend, is how Warhammer 40k and Warhammer the Old World started back in the day. Those kinds of games, right? They only became competitive as the game evolved, and we've slowly shedded every form of role-playing that there is in 40k to the point where it may as well now be an e-sport, right? You may as well not have any models at all. The models, I find, for people who like the games that much, get in the way. They could play the game with some coins, and it wouldn't matter to them, right? Well, you know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on tournament players, and I am, because there are some really good hobbyist tournament players, don't get me wrong, but I have also known a lot of competitive players who couldn't give a monkeys about the models, and, you know, they just want to get better at the game, and that's all power to them. That, for me, that's not what the hobby's about, right? I'm an old school like that. Anyway, they used to name their HQ characters and write lore about them. Now, they get to the stage where they don't even bother painting them. They just buy them because they make a unit reroll wounds, and throw them on the table unpainted and barely glued together. I personally started getting more and more annoyed, bored and turned off by these things. I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you. Yeah, I know it's your army, and if you don't want to paint them, nobody can force you. But my army will go to battle against those grey, unpainted, fiddly plastics, and it just kills my immersion, not yours. I've started playing less and less because of the overly competitive vibe that comes across each game I play. Okay. Alright. While Games Workshop undoubtedly made the game simpler in 10th edition, it's still not a strategy game with fluffy battles, but a sweaty version of chess with stupidly expensive models mixed in with some Magic the Gathering type gotcha elements. I agree. I may have vodka in this Red Bull. Vote in the comment section down below. Where do you think North has vodka in his Red Bull at the moment? Anyway, I came to the realization when I heard others sharing the same opinion, more of a nosedive moment for me, really. There is a company called Games Workshop that basically tells us to play with our plastic soldiers. Like, wait, what? Who gives them that right? They tell us how to play with our toy soldiers. Then I realized, it's us. You're right, mate, yeah. We are the lazy ones, too lazy to come up with rules for our own games, too lazy to create our own worlds, where custodians are all male, for instance. Not opening that can, but you know what I mean. These people play bad games with bad rules because they need Games Workshop to write their rules for them. So I started looking into one-page rules. I tried it, and while I thought it's great, simple fun, still, something was missing. I can't exactly point out what it was, but this whole experience was enough to start writing my own rule set. Okay, alright. I applaud you. I do. I applaud you, and I hope it goes well. I'm going to carry on reading, but just wanted to say that. I always try and nurture these things when they come up. That's a great thing to do. Write your own rule set. Absolutely. Go for it. And I wish you all the best. It's not as easy as people say it is, especially for a war game, but you give it a go, my friend. You'll have fun. At least. Even if nobody buys it or wants it, you'll have fun. I'm not going into details about it, but it's already fluffier and simpler than Games Workshop's 10th edition. In fact, once it gets to a stage where it's playable, I would really, really love to get you to try it at least once or twice. Now, this is the part where I need you more than ever, North. I will list a few questions, and please give me fully and brutally honest answers, okay? When you do finish it, send it to me, and when we do... the Sunday night stream, or daytime Sunday stream. The Sunday stream where we do our prize draws, which is coming back. June the 9th is the date it's coming back. And we are going to be giving away 5 boxes of Yorkshire tea, signed from yours truly to your door. So, become a member of the Patreon or become a member on the channel to be in that prize draw. We're going to do that prize draw with 5 of you getting some nice Yorkshire tea signed. And then we're going to do some gaming, obviously, because we always do a bit of gaming. Probably some 40k gaming, to be honest with you, because I've been looking for an excuse to do more Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So that'll be the first one we do. And we're going to be going over a Q&A. We're doing a Q&A as well. So all the Q&A will be there. And also, we'll be doing any other fluffy bits that are coming across from our community. And when you get this finished, I would love to dedicate some time on that live stream to your rules. So yeah, definitely send it to me. Anyway, I feel like people are brainwashed by Games Workshop, and while they too feel what I feel regarding the rules and the overall vibe of the game, they would not switch to a new system because they just can't be bothered. How would you make people interested, and how would you wake them up? Dude, I've asked myself this question so many times. And I think it's a question that people like Rick Priestley and other guys like that who are creating their own games in different settings will probably have been thinking all along too. How do we get people who are so ingrained in Games Workshop's brand to try something new? One of the best things you can do, which you're already doing, is allow them to use their Citadel miniatures in your game. That's one of the first things you can do. Don't be bothered about if they use Games Workshop stuff in your game. Absolutely. And if you're making a Games Workshop clone, like a 40k clone, make sure it's distinct so you don't get sued, for one, if you're going to sell it. Number 2, just make sure that it's distinct enough so that they're not going to give you a cease and desist letter. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to get one of them through the door. And number 2, you've got to make sure that it's different enough that people in 40k are actually feeling like their issues are being addressed. That is incredibly hard for one person to do on their own. Games Workshop have whole studios of people who still can't get this shit right? So, how would you make them interested? Do you know what? For me, I invite them to a game with the rules, and I tell them why I'm doing it. I want to try this game. That's it. I want to try to get at least once. Bear with me. Hear me out. Play this game once, and we'll see if it's any good compared to 40k. Right? Especially if I wrote it. If I wrote it, I'd be like, listen, mate, I did this rule set. Do you mind playtesting it with me? And if they do, great, right? Most people will play something at least once. Make sure the game you're introducing to them is quicker than 40k. I can't stress that enough. If it's 40k lengthed, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, they're not going to want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it. If your game played that long, I wouldn't want to do it. All right? I'd be like, nah, man. If I'm going to be there that long, I may as well play 40k at this point. Make sure it's a fast, hard-hitting game that's over in an hour and a half or less. 2 hours at a push, but an hour and a half, I would say, is the sweet spot for me. Anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours, that's the stuff right there. If you can get your game down to then start introducing it to people who are sick of 40k. That's what I would do. Anyway. And I think mainly they're just in love with the brand, man. They're in love with 40k. So, they want to play the official 40k and act like they're getting better at 40k. It's a big brand. And there's not much you can do about that apart from say, listen, we are playing 40k. We're just playing it, not Games Workshop's way. I don't know. Anyway. Moving on. I want this rule set to be completely free and accessible to everyone who is willing to switch to it. I'm not a greedy company. I'm just trying to save my hobby. Will Games Workshop be after me if I start taking this to a serious level? Some of my friends tell me that Games Workshop will, but I'm no expert in laws, neither am I, mate. So I just simply don't understand why I cannot make a rule set and give it out to others for free without being sued. You can. You can. Again, a company is forcing people to use their properties, in this case, plastic soldiers, in a way that they don't even enjoy. This is mental, and we just outright ignore this. Okay, okay. I can solve this problem for you, right? I know the answer to this question Because I've asked it myself of people in the studio when I was writing rules myself and giving them out on the channel. As long as you say on page 1, maybe the fine print of every page if you can, but page 1 definitely. Like when I did the Astral Blades Codex, on page 1 I said, this is an unofficial work that has nothing to do with Games Workshop, right? But can be used in their games if you want it to be. It should be compatible with what they've written, but it's got nothing to do, they don't endorse this, it's unofficial, it's fan-made, and it's not for profit. As long as you say that on the front page of your document, you'll be alright. You're fine. They'll take one look at it and go, nah, and be fine. They'll come nowhere near you. Even if it really takes off, they've got no legal recourse to come near you. They'll be, no, it's fine. It's cool. Yeah, you do what you want to do. Because, again, you're not paying, you're not making any money from it. If it does take off, right, here's the sticky issue. If you have a Patreon page, let's say, for the rule set that you're making, right, and it takes off, make sure that you shut that Patreon down when it takes off. Because that's when Games Workshop could say, you are being paid for it. You know? Or at least that you do other things on your Patreon. You offer other things other than your rule set, right? At least do that. So there are ways and means around it. But for now, for just giving it to your friends and putting it out there in the zeitgeist for people to play, as long as you make sure that it's very, very clear that it's unofficial, you're not getting paid for it, right? It's not to be bought, and it's to be played with Games Workshop's models, you're fine. You're okay. You're alright. Alright? Do you think a fluffier and simpler version of 40k would be of interest to many? Yes, I do. Hence why people play OPR. I quite often put the project on ice because all I see are competitive players these days. But I know the fluffy players are out there. Mate, this is what I say to you all the time. It shouldn't matter. You're not doing it for profit. So if you're not doing it for profit, what difference does it make? Treat it like a hobby and write the rules for yourself. For your own sanity. So you can say, I knew it could be done. Right? You say to yourself, I told you it could be done because I did it. And then when your friends come around and say, yeah, I'm not playing 40k at my house, I'm playing these rules. Bang. And show them your rules. Right? I think that is all. Sorry if it was too long to read. Thank you for your time, North. Stay safe and keep up the good work on your channel. Love you, brother Andreas. No problem, man. You too. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Good rules talk there in Hobby Nightmares. Not had one of them in a while. Anyway, moving on. Will says, I said to my missus, my missus that I was going to keep this below 20 minutes, but I'm already failing. So, Will says, hey North, long time watcher of the channel and fellow tea drinker hailing from Yorkshire. Well done, my friend. My name's Will, and this is my Hobby Nightmare. It all happened years ago. Specifically, a week after the new Tervigon model for the Tyranids was released. This will become apparent later on. I went down to my first 40k tournament at Warhammer World when I was 16 with my hobbying group of friends. They were older than me at the time and promised my mum they would look after me, so I could go. I took with me a Tyranid army full of Tervigons and Termagants as a swarm army, along with a Doom of Volantai, in a spore pod, if you remember how devastating that combo was. I do. Yeah, I was on the receiving end of it more than once. One of the Tervigons was the newly released model a week back before the tournament that I bought it. And I bought it, built it, and painted it for this event. The other was converted Carnifex, as I didn't have the money to fork out for 2 Tervigons at the time. I think I lost every game at that tournament, but it was still a blast. It was after my first game that the nightmare happened. Some random guy at the tournament, who wasn't even one I played against, had gone to the judges to complain that I wasn't using a proper model, bringing a converted Tervigon. The judges came over to my table and army and were discussing about letting me continue to use that model for the tournament. Dude. Ugh. So, God, that's good. Sorry, where am I? Oh yeah, Hobby Nightmares. On Monday, on the Hobby Nightmare on Monday, we will discuss rats. There are some ratty people in our hobby. This fellow is one of them. Why would you do that? Why would you see someone else having fun and go, that Turvigon is slightly different from the other Turvigon, he's converted it from something else, I'm going to go to a judge. What kind of a dude, and you're not even playing that, what kind of a rat does that? Ratty behavior. Boo this person. I don't know, it's Friday night, wherever you are, boo this person. Sit in your chair, point at your phone or your screen and boo this person. Get him gone. The sea's too good for you. Actually, no, it isn't. Just get in the sea. There's far worse people in the sea. So you can go in the sea. It's fine. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. One of the guys from my hobbying group came over. We'll call him Joe to see what all the hubbub was about. Me, being the young, green as grass, naive 16-year-old I was, didn't know what to say. Joe, on the other hand, came to my defence. He argued to cut me some slack as the model came out a week ago. I was a 16-year-old without mountains of money to burn on the hobby, and I actually made some effort in the converted Carnifex anyway. Then, after these sound reasons were given, Joe offered anyone... Come on, he's gone way too far here. Then, after these reasons were given, the sound reasons were given, Joe offered anyone out to fight him in the car park who disagreed with him. Like, 0 to 100. Yeah, do you know what, lads? I think you should let this guy carry on in the tournament and use his Turvigon. Yeah, well, he's got mountains of money. What a good little scamp. And if you don't agree with me, I'll fucking see you in the car park, son. All right, I'll fucking... You know, what do you do? Is that how that went? This guy's a nut job. Safe to say, they let me continue with the tournament, and all was well after that. Thanks anyway, and keep up the good work, Curly. Mate, oh, Curly's next one. Dude. That's so silly. That's so silly, it happened. Do you know what I mean? That's so silly, it happened to me. That is definitely something that a, you know, emotionally stunted, socially awkward hobbyist would do. If you saw one of his boys being, you know, being picked on, you'd be like, right, I'll have you outside, so you get out. You know, I don't see why he went from like 0 to 100 like that. It's just amazing. Do I do one more or leave it there? I'll do one more. Why not? Okay. Curly says, hello there, Exile. Call me Curly when you read this out. I've been a new listener to your channel, and I thought I'd share a hobby nightmare. And I wanted to share it with the entire gaming community. This goes back to the early days of the 7th edition, in the time I was playing Necrons with my 2 friends against their Tau and Deathwatch in a 3-way game. Okay, cool. Awesome. We were playing at our local Games Workshop, and I remember this day well. It was a quiet day, and a few other people were playing in the Games Workshop, and a kid came in, about the ages of 11 to 12 years old, who was excited to get into the hobby. He asked us a few questions about the game and what people were playing overall, and was a very nice and polite kid. They brought some Space Marines, and off they went. A few weeks went by, my friends and I returned to the Games Workshop for another game of 40k, and the kid was there with his newly built Space Marines, and had gotten some more stuff to go along with it. I can't remember what he had. He was excited to play a game of 40k with somebody who had agreed to teaching the game, and we were happy that a new person had joined the hobby, and then we saw who it was that he was playing against. Let's call him, CP. Dude, that's really confusing. Let's call me CP. No, you meant let's call him CP. Competitive player. Okay. Right, I'm gonna drink some more vodka because I'm getting. Do you know when people like smell their wine? If I'm standing there with a beer, and one of my friends is smelling his wine, I'll just start smelling my beer, even if it's just a Heineken, just to piss him off. That's the kind of friend I am. Anyway, moving on. CP. CP is I don't want to use CP as his name. Alright? I'm going to call him competitive player. Alright? Cool. Competitive player was a local player as well, but was super competitive, and not just in Warhammer, but in anything they did. Magic, D&D, and other things as well. He met the kid and my friends, and I all gave each other looks of, no, this is not going to be good. The kid gets set up, and so does competitive player, with his Chaos Space Marines, and all seems good at first. Creative player is explaining the rules and advises on how to use the units. We are all thinking, hey, maybe he's changed, and maybe because it is a kid and he is going to be softer on him and just help this kid get more into the game. Until he pulls the big guns out. He puts on the table a Khorne Lord of Skulls model. It's just so ruthless. I just gotta like take my hat off to this guy. What a douche. Like he just can't. Die. Destroys all of the kids' models on the table, and if that wasn't worse enough, begins saying that wow, that's how it's supposed to be done, and you need to learn the hard way, and you won't get better at this if you don't learn the hard way. The kid's face had lost all of its colour, and he packs up his models and he leaves. The manager tells the guy off, says that was way over the top and not needed. Competitive players reply, well, that's 40k. Go hard or go home, scrub. The face of the other people in the store were an absolute shock as well. And competitive player was banned from the store there and then, but sadly the kid never came back to the store. Well, I don't know if it's a banning offence to win a game of 40k. You know, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This guy's a douche, right, and deserves a stern talking to. But you know, I'd feel weird about banning him for winning a game of 40k if he wasn't cheating. Do you know what I mean? Have a go at him, yeah. Like, say, listen, mate, that's not on. You know? But yeah. But since then, I vowed to never be a player like that. Ever. So I tend to build fluffy lists and take stuff I like, even if it won't be great together. Anyway, Exile, I hope you have a great day. I've sent attachments of some of my painted Death Guard. Yeah, so, again, remember what I said before? If I don't show them in the videos, it's because I don't know where I'm going to be when I'm recording these. I could be in the office or wherever. So, you know, I could be at Grandpa's house, right? Just with the computer I've got there. So please make sure that you send me your stuff. It's fine. I will keep it. And on Sundays, we will look at what was sent in that week all together with your names attached to them, all right? No problem. And if it's okay with you, I have an Instagram where I post some stuff I am working on for the hobby if you'd give it a shout out. And if it's okay with you, share the link too, please. Thank you. I don't mind if you don't. I just thought... Okay, you didn't send me the link. I'm pretty certain you didn't send me the link. Send me another email with the link and the name of your Instagram, and I'll throw it on. No problem. All right? Okay. That was Hobby Nightmares. A late, weird Hobby Nightmares, maybe. Hopefully you're in the pub, and at least... If I got at least one person in the world to be in the bar, and there's a choice between a woman giving him the eye in the bar and leaving the bar and listening to his good friend Northern Exile, I'd love it if at least one person went, you know what? Bitch ain't worth it, and walks out and listens to me, listens to my lovely little vocal tones. That would be really funny. Anyway, I love you a long time. Don't do that. Stay in the bar. Have fun. And I will speak to you soon, alright? Have a good one. Bye now.